All right, in this video, we're going to be walking through question number 34 from test 1, the math test in test 1, in your red book. Pause the video, read number 34, and then come back, hit play, and we'll walk through this one together. Okay, in order to solve this problem, in order to answer this question, you have to pay very close attention actually to the paragraph that it gives you right before question, let me check what question number it comes before, right before question 33. There's a chunk of a few questions that all ask about the same exact picture, and in order to fully understand this picture, you need to read the paragraph that it gives you right off the bat. This particular question, I only drew just a little piece of the picture that we needed to answer this question, but the question asks you, you look at this big crazy picture, and it wants to know the length of the segment that goes from J to D. That's what we're trying to find in this question. It wants to know what is the length of JD. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to use the information that's given to us off the bat to answer this. Now what I mean by use the information that's given off the bat is this. It tells us that ABCD is a rectangle. Okay, so that means this side are congruent. That means, this whole side and this whole side are congruent. It tells us that the length of one of the sides of the rectangle is 10 and the other side is 12. It tells us that K down here is the midpoint of DC and that J is the midpoint of AB. And that information alone, my friends, is actually enough for us to be able to find JD. And here's what I mean. You can see pretty clearly that if I draw a line from J to K, since these are both the midpoints, K is the midpoint of DC, J is the midpoint of AB, this is going to be a straight line parallel to these sides of the rectangle, and it's going to have the same length since this is a straight line from top to bottom. All right, so that means this line that I just drew has length 12, okay? I also know this. From D to K, since K is the midpoint of DC and DC has a length of 10, that means that this side from D to K has a length of 5, and from K to C, there's a length of 5. All right? And now, the final thing, since this is the midpoint, this is the midpoint, and we drew a line between, and this line is parallel to these two sides of the rectangle, we actually have a right angle right here. We have a perpendicular bisector of DC, meaning that, check it out now, we have a right triangle. Triangle DKJ is a right triangle, and we know two of its sides. We know one side is 5, the other side is 12, and we need to find this side right here. And now there's a couple ways that you can do this. You could use the Pythagorean theorem to say that, 5 squared plus 12 squared equals c squared. C, of course, being the hypotenuse. You could solve for c. Or there's actually a shortcut. Remember from your class, from your training, that the test writers reward people who know the shortcuts. If you know the shortcuts, you'll be able to save yourself time and energy, right? So this is actually a special case of a right triangle. There's a special thing called a 5, 12, 13 right triangle. Meaning any triangle that has legs 5 and 12 must have hypotenuse of 13. So if you know that a 5, 12, 13 triangle is a thing, you don't need to go through the Pythagorean theorem. You automatically know, since this side is 5, this side is 12, this side must be 13. Pretty cool. And so that's it. We're done here, The length from J to D is 13. You're good to go.